If you are 60 and you earn $80,000 a year, the most quoted benchmark in retirement planning says you should have $640,000 saved by now, 8 times your salary. And if you just did that arithmetic on yourself and felt your stomach drop, stay with me. The number is real, but the assumptions underneath it are the part nobody reads, and they change the answer for a great many people. I am Susan, and on this channel we run the numbers before we give an opinion. Today it is the on-track question. Am I behind? And I want to do 3 things with it. Give you the benchmarks exactly as they are published. Open up the assumptions they rest on, because that is where the real information is. And then, if you are behind, go through the 4 levers that actually still move the needle at 60 in order of how much they are worth. Let us start with the benchmarks themselves. The most widely used set comes from Fidelity, and it is expressed as multiples of your salary. 1 times your salary saved by age 30, 3 times by 40, 6 times by 50, 8 times by 60, and 10 times your salary by 67. So on that $80,000 salary, the milestones are $80,000 at 30, $240,000 at 40, $480,000 at 50, $640,000 at 60, and $800,000 at 67. Now, before anybody writes those on a piece of paper and feels bad for a week, let us open the box. Because a benchmark like this is not a fact about you. It is the output of a model, and a model runs on assumptions. Fidelity publishes theirs, and they matter enormously. Assumption 1. You save 15% of your income every year. That is the engine of the whole thing. 15%, including any employer match, from the time you start until you retire. If you saved 8% for 15 years while you were raising children, the model was never describing you. Assumption 2. Your money is invested along an age-based glide path, the kind you get in a typical target date fund. Heavier in stocks early, gradually more conservative as you approach retirement. Assumption 3. Your real wages grow about 1.5% a year over your career. Assumption 4. You retire at 67 and the plan runs through age 93. And assumption 5, which is the one I want you to hold on to because it changes everything. The target is to replace 45% of your pre-retirement income from your savings. 45%, not 100, not 80. Why 45? Because the model assumes Social Security covers a chunk of the rest, and because most households genuinely spend less in retirement than they did while working. No commuting. No saving 15% of your income anymore because you are retired. Often no mortgage. Often no children at home. And, critically, the benchmark assumes no pension income at all. So think about what that means. If you have a pension, any pension, the 10 times figure is aiming at a target you partly already have covered from another direction. The benchmark does not know about it. There is one more thing worth saying, and it comes from Fidelity themselves. They describe these milestones as aspirational and say plainly that most people will not hit all of them. That sentence almost never travels with the numbers. The numbers travel alone, land on somebody at 3 in the morning, and do damage that the original document explicitly tried to prevent. So here is how I would actually use the benchmark. Not as a pass or fail line, as a direction check. If you are at 4 times salary at 60 rather than 8, that does not mean your retirement is broken. It means your retirement will not look like the model's retirement, and you now have a specific question to answer, which is what your actual retirement costs. And that is the question I would go and answer first, before doing anything else, because it is the only one that is about you, rather than about an average. Take your current monthly spending. Subtract what genuinely goes away when you stop working. The commuting. The retirement contributions themselves. The mortgage, if it will be paid off. Add what genuinely goes up. Health coverage before Medicare, if you are retiring early. Travel in the first few years, which for most people is front-loaded. That gets you a monthly number. Multiply by 12. Then subtract the income you will have that is not your savings, Social Security, a pension if you have one, any part-time work you actually intend to do. Whatever is left is the amount your savings has to produce each year. That figure, not the multiple of salary, is the real benchmark, and it is yours. I have watched people do that arithmetic and discover they are much closer than the multiple suggested, because they have a pension the model did not count, or because their spending drops far more than 45% when the mortgage goes and the children are grown. I have also watched people discover the opposite, and that is worth finding out at 60 when there are still levers, rather than at 67 when there are fewer. Let me run one case all the way through, because the arithmetic is easier to trust when you watch it happen to somebody. Take a couple, both 62. Household income $90,000. By the multiple, at 60, they should have had $720,000 saved. They have $410,000. On the chart, that is a bad result, and it is the number they have been quietly carrying around for 2 years. Now do the other calculation. They currently spend $6,000 a month. When they retire, the commuting goes about $200. The 15% they have been putting into the retirement accounts goes, because you do not save for retirement while retired, and on $90,000, that is over $1,100 a month. The mortgage has 4 years left, so for the first 4 years it stays, and then $200,000 of principal stops being a payment. Call it $1,200 a month at that point. So their genuine retirement spending is not $6,000. It is roughly $4,700 for the first 4 years, and about $3,500 after that. Against that, one of them has a small pension of $900 a month. Their combined Social Security, claimed at 67, will be somewhere in the region of $3,300, and they can get their own figure exactly from their statements rather than my estimate. Add those together, and the income that is not their savings is around $4,200 a month, which means the portfolio has to cover about $500 a month in the early years, and essentially nothing later, plus the gap before Social Security starts, plus a reserve for the things that do not appear in monthly budgets, which is the roof, the car, and the health event. That is a completely different problem from the one the chart described. It is not a shortfall of $300,000. It is a bridge to build for 5 years and a cushion to hold afterward. Now, I am not saying every case turns out that well. Run the same arithmetic for a renter with no pension, and the answer is harder, and it is better to know that at 62 than at 67. The point is that the multiple could not tell either household which of the two they were, and 1 hour with a bank statement can. So let us say you ran it and you are behind. Here are the 4 levers, in order of how much they are actually worth. Lever 1, and it is not close. Working longer, even part-time. Delaying retirement does 4 things at once, which is why nothing else competes with it. It adds years of contributions. It adds years of growth. It removes years the portfolio has to pay for. And, if you delay claiming Social Security, it can raise that monthly benefit for the rest of your life. I am not saying that to be cheerful about it. Some people cannot work longer, for health reasons or because their industry decided for them, and I am not going to pretend otherwise. But when it is available, 1 or 2 extra years does more than every clever product anybody will try to sell you. And it does not have to be the same job. Half-time for 3 years is a real strategy, not a consolation prize. Lever 2. The catch-up contributions, which exist precisely for the situation you are in. Once you are 50 or older, the retirement accounts let you put in more than the standard limit each year. The exact amounts change with the year and by account type, so look up the current figure for your account rather than trusting a number from a video, including this one. The important thing is that this is the one window where the system is deliberately built for people who are behind, and a surprising number of people go through their 50s without knowing it is open. Lever 3. Spending, but on the specific line rather than everywhere. The usual advice is to cut everything, which nobody sustains. What actually moves a retirement plan at 60 is normally one large structural thing, not 30 small ones. The second car. A house that costs more to run than it needs to. One subscription pile nobody has looked at in 5 years. Find the one big line. Changing it once beats 100 small acts of willpower because you decided a single time and it stays decided. Lever 4. Making sure the money you already have is not sitting where it does nothing. I am careful here because this is where the sales pitches live. I am not telling you to take more risk at 60. What I am saying is that a lot of people have money that is not invested according to any decision at all. An old workplace plan sitting in a money market fund from a rollover 15 years ago. Cash far beyond what any emergency fund needs. That is not conservative. That is unexamined. And examining it costs nothing. Now let me say the part that does not fit on a chart. The reason the on-track question hurts is not really arithmetic. It is that it arrives as a verdict on how you spent 30 years. Behind on what exactly? Behind a model that assumed you saved 15% from your 20s, never had a gap year, never took a pay cut to change careers, never paid for somebody's treatment, never helped a child through school. Real financial lives have those things in them. The model does not. It cannot, because it is a model. So use the number the way an engineer uses a gauge. It tells you which way to move. It does not tell you who you are. And here is the thing I would want you to take away more than any multiple. The single most useful number in this whole subject is not 8 times salary. It is your own annual spending in retirement, which almost nobody has calculated, and which takes about an hour and a bank statement. Everything else, including whether you are behind, is arithmetic on top of that one figure. Get it? And the benchmark stops being a verdict and becomes what it was designed to be, which is a rough marker on a long road. If you want, tell me in the comments what multiple you landed on and whether you have a pension, because those two facts together change the picture more than anything else, and I suspect a lot of people will find they are in better shape than the chart implied. I am Susan. Run the numbers, then decide. See you next time.